You are about to enter a great adventure.
This is Strutting from Gorilla.
We would simply like to say thank you and welcome you to Wrestlemania!
Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Strutting from Gorilla. I am Mikey Cash, and with me, as always, my co-host with the most, Big Vito. It's good to see you, Big Vito. Before we get into it, just make sure we can have you guys find us on the socials. On Facebook, it's at SFG Podcast, Twitter and TikTok at @from_gorilla, and on Instagram at SF Gorilla Pod. As always, you can always find us on our website, struttingfromgorilla.com. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, feel free to give us a 5-star rating and review. We'd really appreciate it. Now, Vito, let's get into today's episode. We're going to be taking a little bit of a pivot from our usual criticism/negativity of all things WWE creative, and we're going to be talking about why we love WrestleMania. What made us fall in love with it? What were some of our favorite moments, some of our matches that really stand out to us, and really what WrestleMania means to us? So, Vito, should we get into it?
So basically what you're saying is we're going into Neverland, or are we leaving Neverland at this point?
Well,
I actually don't really know which one it is.
I think we're going to be in Neverland a little bit. I think we're taking a brief detour into it.
Yeah, because we're going back. We're going to relive some of the stuff that we
right.
loved.
Yeah, we're going down nostalgia Nile here.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. So meaning of WrestleMania, is that what you want from me?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think the great thing about WrestleMania is that you get this 2 days. Well, it used to be 1, now it's 2, of some of the top stars, and you get this kind of this atmosphere that's really larger than life. And I think when you look at it, for me, there's an article on struttingfromgorilla.com that I wrote, and I was able to go to WrestleMania 14. I've talked about it before in the podcast, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But I think that event and being there and feeling the energy that was actually in the building, it's something I don't know that I've felt before at an event. Like, I go to concerts all the time, and it's kind of similar to that when you have a concert where you know all the words and you know the band and you really enjoy them. It's very similar to that. So that's kind of what I would relate it to. And it kind of stems off into why I think I enjoy wrestling in the first place, right? Because you build up to this event every year. It's like January comes around, you got the Royal Rumble, and then you get into this really big event that's larger than life, and everyone wants to try and step up. And you know what's crazy is if they just had that same mindset throughout the whole year on WWE programming, it would be great. But okay, that was my negative spin. Okay, your turn, Mike.
You digress. Well, I wanted to follow up with you because it must have been such a great moment for you and your dad going through all of this trouble to get the tickets for WrestleMania 14, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was I don't know. I must have been in 6th grade, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And dude, they sold out. You can even, on the article, I talk about it. They sold out in less than like 90 seconds. I was in line at Filene's not Filene's Basement, but Filene's, where that's where you purchase tickets. Cause I don't think you could do it on the web at that time.
No. 1998, definitely.
Yeah. We were in line and they sold out within 90 seconds. And I was like, I remember looking at my dad being like, what? How did they possibly sell out in 90 seconds? And then I learned about scalpers, Mike.
An important life lesson.
Yeah, but then he went into this, like, I'll never forget it. He was determined to get tickets for us to go. And if you look at like WrestleMania now, they're in these giant stadiums. And at that point, like, you think about WrestleMania 9, they were in the Coliseum, right? And then WrestleMania 14, they're in the Fleet Center in Boston. Like, that makes no sense.
It wasn't very, I mean, the Fleet Center is not very big.
No, compared to the stadiums.
No,
absolutely not. And I knew that was like a once in a lifetime thing. And my dad went and he's like, hey, I got us tickets. I don't know how he did it. But we pulled up in this random gas station and he's like, stay in the car. And I'll never forget. It was like this long limousine that came. I'll never forget it. And he's like, whatever you do, stay in the car. I'm like, okay. And he goes out, he gets in the limousine. This guy like rolls down his window. He's like, come in. and then he gets in. He's in there for like 10 minutes. And then he gets out and he pops out the 2 tickets. Now, when I tell you we're in the nosebleeds, though, it was, we were in the nosebleeds. Like, it was one of those, like, I know the Fleet Center's small, but when you go to see a wrestling event and you're in the balcony, like, it's tough to see, you know what I mean? They look like little dots, but it was an amazing day. I'll never forget the energy in the stadium, in the Fleet Center. It was awesome. I'll never forget it. It was great. My buddy was able to get tickets too, and he was there, and he was literally in the last row, like
up against the wall.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was incredible.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And you got to see the Austin era begin.
I know. It's one of those like time frames though, when you're a kid where you kind of remember things, but like kind of don't. So I wish I was like slightly older.
Sure.
Just because I would probably remember a lot more. For some reason, the 2 things that really stick out, the Austin match didn't really stick out to me. I don't know why. But I think because I was a big Triple H fan at the time, so I remember
him and Owen Hart.
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember the Kane and Undertaker match because I remember the Druids coming out. It was like really cool. That was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and those were the big things that I remember. And then I don't know, who did The Rock fight that day.
It was Ken Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock. Imagine that son of a bitch.
And Shamrock won. It's the only time I've ever seen a referee decision reversed. He had the ankle lock on The Rock and he won. And then he wouldn't let go. And then they reversed the decision.
Yeah.
And the crowd just shit all over The Rock for retaining the title.
Yeah. And you know what other match I remember was pretty awesome was the New Age Outlaws versus Mick Foley and
Chainsaw Charlie.
Chainsaw Charlie. I remember that being awesome with the dumpster. Yeah.
That's right. Yep. That was a good match too. You kind of forget that that WrestleMania card was pretty good.
Oh, it's got to be one of the better ones. Like, it's got to be one of the better ones. You know, it was awesome, and that was like the peak of WWE. Like with all those stars. I mean, you take any of those matches, and they would
be a WrestleMania main event now.
Yeah,
on their own, and they were all there on one card.
Yeah,
that was good.
It was unbelievable.
That was
awesome.
Match. Great card.
Now, what about you? What does it mean to you, Mikey? We're gonna get deep. This is a deep episode.
For me, we're gonna go a little bit of a different direction here for me because unlike Vito, I didn't have Vinny Bag of Donuts get me my tickets from the Mafia here. I don't know. I don't know if your dad still owes a kidney or something to these guys.
He could. He very well could.
But for me, it was actually really interesting, and I also, like Vito. Both our articles about the meaning of WrestleMania to us is up on our website, struttingfromgorilla.com. You can check it out. But for me, it was really important because when I look back on it, this all started Valentine's Day 2011. Now, I know we're talking about WrestleMania, but this was a very important night for Mikey Cash.
Okay.
I was watching Raw, and they were about to reveal the special guest host for WrestleMania 27. And there was a lot of hubbub.
Justin Bieber, right?
It was going to be Justin Bieber. Yeah. So I remember watching it, and there was a lot of hubbub around who it was going to be. And then The Rock came out. and I lost it, man. I lost it. I hadn't seen him on WWE TV in close to 7 years. He was doing the movies and really establishing himself as an actor. He comes back, and I just had this rush and this adrenaline that I had not felt in a long time when I was watching wrestling.
Yep.
And I knew right away that I needed to resurrect something that Mikey Cash used to do back in high school, which was I would have my friends over, and I'm sure a lot of people did this. I'm not special at all. We would do a WrestleMania party. And I decided to invite everybody that I could possibly invite to this momentous occasion of The Rock coming back and going to be involved in WrestleMania. And it was because of that a certain coworker of mine, I invited her. And it was that night was sort of the catalyst for our relationship starting. And I met my wife. And I firmly believe, and if The Rock ever hears this, please know that I do credit you with the reason that I am married right now, is because I would not have thrown that party. She wouldn't have come over. We wouldn't have held hands that night. And that was the catalyst for the whole thing, man. And my life changed. Valentine's Day 2011.
And now you're in Neverland forever.
Now we're in Neverland forever.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, how do you beat that? You can't beat that. Like,
it's a WrestleMania love story.
I was just about to say,
come on.
Oh man, it is a WrestleMania love story.
And she had no business coming to this WrestleMania, but she had no reason to actually come. Yeah, she likes wrestling now, but I think it's just more of been me systematically breaking her down over the years. Yeah. So it's really it's nothing about her actually being very interested in it. But at the time, she had no reason to come to this party, and she showed up, and the rest was history.
I mean, let's put it this way. When someone invites you to a WrestleMania party, is it more of like, well, I wasn't expecting that, so I should say yes? Like, is it like the shock factor? Like, either way, it worked.
I might have shocked her, and she just accidentally said yes, and then realized she was committed.
Yeah. Do you want to go to like a nice like Ruth Chris Steakhouse or something? No. Hey, how about you come over for WrestleMania?
How about you come over for WrestleMania? I'm gonna have some beer and pizza.
Yeah. Hey, it works.
Really roll out the red carpet.
I will say I do remember that that night that he came out, because with the internet nowadays, there's nothing that's a surprise. So when they can keep something a surprise like that, I remember I had an adrenaline rush, and I like The Rock, but I know how much like you love The Rock. So I can only imagine what it was like. I got goosebumps when he came out. I couldn't believe it. With his music hit. Yeah, and I think that's the first time that I think the fans, when he was the Hollywood Rock, and then he came back. That was the first time I think everyone really embraced him again. Like,
right. It was a true embracing of who this guy was and what he meant to pro wrestling.
Unfortunately, I think that was the main event with The Miz, right?
It was. Unfortunately, it was the main event with The Miz. And it turned out to... WrestleMania 27 overall was not the best WrestleMania, I would say. However, it had some shining moments. Yeah. I think, obviously, that main event was a vehicle to get to the real main event for the next 2 years of WrestleMania, which was The Rock and John Cena. Yeah. And I was lucky enough, speaking of WrestleMania moments, I was lucky enough to go to two WrestleManias. I got to see The Rock and John Cena at Giant Stadium for WrestleMania 29. That was really great.
That's an unbelievable one.
And then we got to, my wife and I, speaking of, we actually ended up going to a WrestleMania in 2018 in New Orleans. And that was
the main event there?
It was, oddly enough, Reigns versus Lesnar. And the crowd by the end of that night had kind of shit all over it. And I think this might have been one of the contributing factors to why it's now 2 nights, because by the end of it, it is a real
grind.
It is a super grind. You're just exhausted. It's about 12:30 by the time the main event is coming on, and you just don't have the energy anymore. And if you were already wishy-washy about that main event, you were just naturally going to skew negative on it. But
and they
were great experiences though all around.
Yeah, no, that first of all, that's fantastic. Not only have you gone to 1, you've gone to 2, which is awesome. Two things I'll say. I feel like the WrestleManias in the 20s, like for some reason, I didn't watch nearly as many.
Mhm.
I don't know what it was. I just wasn't excited.
Well, we were
There
in
were definitely
college
some good
too,
ones.
so I think you're onto something. We were in college,
Yeah.
so it wasn't that easy for us at that time.
Yeah, true.
Even with the internet,
Yeah.
you weren't able to just stream a pay-per-view.
Unless we were able to get Newman to splice into the
splice into the cable from our college. Yeah,
that's true. But
what's the statute of limitations on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's in the clear now. He's a big business owner. Yeah. So Crezo, check out Crezo. He has a podcast as well. Great company. OKRs. But no, that's fantastic. That really is great. I mean, it is pretty cool. We both have those kind of special moments that lead into it. But there's just something about WrestleMania that gets everyone hyped up. And you can shit on Vince McMahon all you want, especially nowadays. We tend to do that a lot, and it is what it is. But he did start something that was pretty cool. It's like the Super Bowl of wrestling, and I love it. So,
well, should we let's jump into this piece of it?
Okay.
Right? Do you remember the first WrestleMania you ever watched?
It's funny, Mike. I don't. I can't tell you the first one because here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about how I got into wrestling.
Yeah.
And I may have mentioned this before in a podcast, but I'm not sure that I ever watched like Raw or anything like that. I used to go sleep over my uncle's. He lives in Cape Cod. I don't know if people are listening. It's kind of far away, so I'd go over and sleep over a lot. And I don't remember if he had cable or not, but for some reason he had those old Coliseum like VHS videos, and he used to put them on. And I think that's where I first started getting into it. I remember watching the Isaac Yankem was on one of them, and I think they had the Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler Kiss My Foot match. For some reason, I remember those, and I'd watch them and be like, "Damn, this is." I really enjoyed it. I don't know what it was, and I think at that time I had a lot of anxiety as a kid, like sleeping over places. I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
and it like calmed me down. It like took me out of that realm, and I think it still does that. So it's funny. I'm trying to think. Like, I want to say it was like WrestleMania 12 that I really. Usually 12 or 13 that I like really started getting into it. But then I would go back and see the other ones, like, not that I didn't see them before, because it's weird. You see so many clips as you go along that it's like, did I see that? I don't know if I saw that live or not. Like, I don't think I saw WrestleMania 9, which, you talk about WrestleManias, and I know, you have a note on here about WrestleMania 9, but like that's a perfect example. Overall, like the results of it weren't great, but like going in the Coliseum in Las Vegas and like having everyone dressed up as Romans and stuff, like that's the type of production that makes it larger than life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. For me, so for everybody who's wondering, for me, my first WrestleMania experience was I remember it very vividly. We went to my uncle's house, and he was a big wrestling fan, and we went down into his basement, and I remember he had the pay-per-view, and it's only 1993 here, so pay-per-views were still kind of a novelty in some households,
especially when they were
not
$50.
Everybody had a cable box, so some people still had the bunny ears. So he was definitely it was a novelty for me to be able to go over there to watch that pay-per-view. The one thing that stuck out to me, and I'll never forget it, I was sitting on the floor and I was eating some Cheetos, and I saw this guy come out. I hear like the bong, and I see the Undertaker come out, and he's got this crow or a raven. I forget. There was some bird there, and he comes out, and you see even though they were outside, they were at Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, that's
even
what it was.
Even so. They still did like the smoke, like they had the whole effects going, and I just remember being mystified by this guy. I thought, who the fuck is that dude? I mean, maybe not. I mean, it was 1993, so I was pretty young, so I might have just been like, oh man, who is that? Yeah. But and I think
Gee Willikers, Mom.
and his opponent, I think it was the Giant Gonzalez. Remember the guy who used to wear the bodysuit with the muscles on it?
Of course. Yeah.
And I remember he gave like Undertaker the handkerchief with like ether on it, like he like made him pass out, and then Paul Bearer just held the urn up, and then Undertaker rose back up. It was just so cool.
Oh yeah.
So,
they had to do something because he was a terrible wrestler.
It was not very good. They had to really lean into the entertainment part of sports entertainment here.
Yeah,
but I don't really remember the rest of that pay-per-view. I've watched the rest of this before and seen it. Like, I think it's Sid versus Hogan. And then Hogan comes back out. And this is the famous main event where it's Brett versus Yokozuna. And then Hogan comes out and Brett, valiantly sacrifices and lets Hogan just beat Yokozuna in 10 seconds.
Yes.
So I'm kind of glad I actually don't remember that as a kid.
Yeah.
But the one thing that stood out to me was that Undertaker match and just watching his entrance come out. And I think for me that was the real first itch that I can remember getting for wrestling, was from watching WrestleMania 9.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, as a kid, you're not going to understand the Hulk Hogan situation. Like, no, I don't think many of us really kind of did at that point. But no, I completely get it. And it's stuff like that I hope kids today still get that moment. You know what I mean? I mean, you got 2 days worth and probably 24 matches in a WrestleMania weekend. So, you get your fix somehow.
Well, look at what WrestleMania has inspired in general.
Yeah.
Even beyond WWE, WrestleMania weekend is a huge weekend for wrestling now. So it's having a ripple effect on other promotions.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. I mean, there's been so many moments over the years.
I know.
Like, what?
I know.
I mean, which one kind of sticks out to you? Like, I mean, there's a bunch, right? Outside of the matches, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Like, what moments do you remember that stand out for you? Because the thing about WrestleMania is it's not always the matches, right? There's this mystique around it, and there's usually some sort of celebrity appearance. Which ones do you remember the most?
Well, for me, I think it all stems back to WrestleMania 1. I think that was the start of this whole thing. And it really set the precedent for what we still see today.
Yeah.
And when you look at the people that showed up at that event, you had Billy Martin, who at the time, he was a huge figure in New York. And this was at Madison Square Garden. So you have to remember, Billy Martin was a pivotal manager for the New York Yankees. So it was a big get to have him be involved in this, as well as Cyndi Lauper. So you also had the MTV crowd coming in. That got a lot of mainstream attention. You also had Liberace, and I know that sounds weird. There's probably going to be a lot of listeners that are saying, who the fuck is Liberace? Look him up. He was an incredibly famous musician and a really big public figure. So I think it was huge to get him. And they got the Rockettes too. It was Liberace and the Rockettes doing a kick line. And who else was there? Oh, hello. How about Muhammad Ali was there in the main event as a guest enforcer? And let's not forget, who wrestled in that main event was a celebrity, Mr. T.
Yep.
So from the very beginning, and I bring this up because I think sometimes we forget this, because I know we tend to, I do the same thing. We get kind of negative about the celebrity involvement in WrestleMania, but this has been the way it has been from the very beginning. From the very first show, there have been celebrities involved in it. Yep. And I think WrestleMania 1 obviously was huge. If it didn't work, we wouldn't have WrestleMania 38 coming up next week.
Yeah. And if you think about it too, like at that time, there were still territories, like they were slowly dissipating. But it was, I think, that event that really took WWF at the time into the stratosphere. And it elevated everything. And that's where I give Vince McMahon credit. Like, he really took something. It's like it's like I equate it to like Apple, right? Like the, Apple has kind of taken over the world a little bit with what they've done, but it was one event that really accelerated them above all the rest.
Yeah.
And you can love it or you can hate it, but it's there. And it kind of took away from a lot of the outside wrestling with all the territories. But I think it's a great event. And I give Vince McMahon a lot of credit for being a great marketer on that one. But it really has propelled it into this different stratosphere.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I say that this is a big moment is if you think back to that time, I think it was 1984 or 1985, wrestling wasn't mainstream.
No.
It's a lot more acceptable for a celebrity to show up on Raw now or show up on SmackDown or a pay-per-view or at WrestleMania because it's a lot more socially acceptable. And I think ultimately, as much as we give him shit, we do have to thank Vince for that because this was the beginning of it. WrestleMania 1 was huge in getting all of that mainstream attention with all of those figures that showed up and were heavily involved in the show.
Yeah, and I don't think closed circuit television and pay-per-view, like that was one of the first pay-per-view type of things outside of like the movies that you see, which pay-per-view really doesn't even exist anymore. But like outside of like special events and
UFC,
wrestling
maybe?
and boxing and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, man, I totally agree with you on all of that. So I'll tell you, one of the things, there's a lot of moments that I remember. What was it? Was it Shawn Michaels that came out with Pam Anderson? Like,
WrestleMania
big deal
11.
too.
He came out with her.
And you've had Snooki on there. You've had a bunch of celebrities, and I'm all for the celebrities. Listen, we could have a discussion about this for a whole episode, but I think it's just how you use them. And I think I'm also a little salty because I don't know who the hell half the people are that they're bringing on there nowadays because I'm old. We're old. Yeah. So, but one of the ones I remember was Pete Rose. I love when Pete Rose would come on.
It was like a comedy routine with him and
It
Kane.
was great. Yeah, it was great. And then like, even I'll give the announcers credit too, like Mean Gene Okerlund, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Macho Man, Vince McMahon for many years being on there,
Jesse the
Body. There's just a lot of different announcers that made it a great feel. I'll tell you, Bobby the Brain Heenan was great. He was a little corny if you look back now, but he always did a great job. He played him and the King played great heel announcers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, the big time feel of the event. Like I said, the large crowds. I mean, they're in stadiums nowadays.
Yeah.
Like it's insane what they do with some of this stuff.
I know, man.
I was watching one that I completely forgot about. But Austin on Piper's Pit. How cool is that? Like, it was the first time.
Wasn't that WrestleMania 21?
They were in Hollywood.
Wasn't JBL also on that or something? Or
could have been.
Somebody was on it. Yeah.
I get the numbers.
I forget who was part of that.
I get the numbers confused all the time. I kind of relate the WrestleManias to the locations most likely.
Yeah. I always forget too.
But Austin hadn't been on TV in years, and he comes back, and what a great segment! And Carlito was on there too, and they beat him up at the end. And I won't forget, they both look at each other, and Piper smacks Austin in the face, and then Austin smacks him in the face, and it was great. It was a good moment, man. Because again, that's a match that I don't know that Roddy Piper was the best wrestler in the world, but great on the microphone, right? And I love Piper, and those two together, kind of the two bad boys. You look back at wrestling, and it was a cool moment. And there's been a lot of moments like that you kind of expect the unexpected at WrestleMania. It's almost like they build it up so much. Sometimes you get disappointed because you don't get exactly what you need, even when it's usually pretty good. So.
No, man, it was. You know what? It's funny is you got me thinking about it. Remember Bob Uecker? He used to do play-by-play for the Brewers, and I think wasn't he in?
That's right, with Andre the Giant.
Yeah, exactly. When Andre just like takes him and just like chokes him.
It's moments like that, though. Like you remember shit like that, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
no,
thought Regis Philbin did something too.
He
I
did.
think he did.
Yeah, with the Undertaker, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't remember exactly
I
what it
don't
was.
either, but I have this like memory of Regis Philbin and the Undertaker on my television screen.
Yeah, but again, that's the stuff they're missing a little bit nowadays, because they don't. I mean, they bring in celebrities, but they're not.
Well, you just said it. You just said you don't know them, so that's
Yeah,
why.
but-
That's why.
Yeah, but let's be honest. If you asked, well, I guess if you ask kids today, they wouldn't know who Regis Philbin is. But
Yeah, so what exactly?
But I know who Bad Bunny is.
Exactly. They're going to be asking you the same question.
Yeah, I guess maybe you're right. I don't know, but okay. So let's move on. There's a lot of moments we could talk about. If you think of any as we go along, feel free to pop them in. But I wanted to. I'm taking over the A chair halfway.
Oh, here we go.
So.
Here we go. Yeah, you got your energy drink and you're going.
Let's talk about some of our favorite matches. I mean, we could,
of course.
We could go on and on. There have been some great ones. You can start us off, Mikey Cash.
All right. You didn't have 8 you wanted to go into, right, to start us off?
I have a cool dozen if you really want.
Of course. Well, for me, it's the first one on my list is Brett versus Owen from WrestleMania 10. I just love that match. The brother versus brother build.
Yeah.
It's the show opener, and it kind of steals the show to me. I mean, I know everybody talks about the ladder match with Razor and HBK from that night, but for me, for my money, it's Brett. It's Brett versus Owen. And I've always been a Brett guy, so I think it's for listeners will kind of know that my natural tendency is to lean towards Brett. But I thought that was a wonderful match. Another one that's just a personal favorite. I don't know if it's technically the best match ever, but I always thought it was so cool when The Undertaker and Diesel fought. I just
two large
thought
dudes,
it was so badass.
Yeah.
In WrestleMania 12, they finally fought. It was Kevin Nash's last WrestleMania before he left for WCW. I thought it was great. I loved that build to that match. I think Kevin Nash was incredibly imposing on The Undertaker, and he was, at the time, he was pretty athletic too. So I thought it was somebody that could match up well with what The Undertaker brought to the table. And
was that a casket match?
No, that was just a straight up match.
Okay.
And I remember being so mesmerized by the fact that Undertaker got Diesel up for a tombstone. Because he's about the same size as him, and maybe a little bit
taller. Yeah.
And he is definitely a little wider than Undertaker,
yeah.
like his shoulders and stuff. So the fact that he got him up and got him up for a tombstone, I thought was incredible. It was just so cool. I remember the camera panning out, and at the time they used to print the WrestleMania on, like they had the logo on the mat. Yeah. So there was just something really cool about how it like panned out, and you just saw Diesel with his arms folded as Undertaker pinned him. It was just, I guess that was a moment for me that stood out. And no one's going to be surprised when I bring up this next one. But the Rock and Austin. I mean,
which one?
All three are great, but my personal favorite is probably the 17.
Yeah,
it's a great match, great build, great video. We've talked about it till the cows come home, but that is for me pinnacle WrestleMania right there. That is what you're striving for. Is the build to that match, the promo video for that match. I don't think they've had a promo video come even close to that since then. No offense to the Creed My Sacrifice video for Survivor Series 2001. Look it up, guys. It's on YouTube.
Well, they used that Creed video, My Sacrifice, for anyone that was coming back from injuries too. Right? like Triple H came back from the torn quad, and they used that video of him preparing to come back.
Wait, didn't they use? Was it U2? It was like, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, probably.
It came back, and I was like, this doesn't. One of these things is not like the other. What's going on?
Yeah, no, those are good ones. I tell you, for me, my all-time favorite, and it might be my favorite match of all time, is Austin versus Bret Hart.
Yeah,
and I was listening to the JR podcast, which I love. He's always got great insight on stuff, and he was talking about that match. They did an episode on 1997 Stone Cold, and which, by the way, we might have to go back and sue him for copying our
Sure.
Stone Cold episode, I was listening to it and like almost verbatim, it was what we talked about. And listen, we have no involvement in wrestling. We are just fans
At all. We were
chatting,
just two jabronis.
Yeah. And if you go and listen to it, it sounds very identical to our Stone Cold episode. So
We're calling you out.
No, go listen to it. I'm telling you, it's weird. It's weird. And ours came first. You can check the date stamps if you want. But the thing they talked about, which we talked about, is the double turn, right? Like,
yeah.
And it happened so organically, right? It was like you got this guy who is, typically you have like a heel and a baby face. That's the way it always worked. But Austin was a heel and he was selling merchandise like crazy. He was clearly their top star and he didn't do anything. And they both turned, and you have Bret Hart, who was like the ultimate baby face, probably the top baby face in the company. And you have the top heel in the company. And with the matter of minutes, they turn both of them.
It was masterful.
It really was. And apparently, and I didn't know this, but blood in WWE has always been banned. Did you know that?
I didn't really know that. I knew that there was I watched something about that particular match with Hart and Austin, and I think Austin's even said that he was sort of newer at the time, so he didn't have the stroke, but Bret Hart basically said to him, don't worry about it. I'll do it, and I'll just take the heat for it.
Yep.
And he did.
Yep. He did. And there's everything about it. I think you knew, and JR said this on his podcast, you knew at that time when Bret Hart was in a match, you were going to get a good match. You were going to get a great story. And that's what happened.
Look what he did.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's pulled off the double turn as successfully as they have.
Not like that, man. And Bret Hart, it's not like they changed what they were doing. Like,
no,
it just happened. Like, it was just the way they did everything, the way the story was told. The ending where he passes out and you have that iconic picture of the blood coming down his face.
It's character work. That's what it was. There wasn't much change to what they actually did in the ring.
Nope.
There was a lot of subtle changes.
Yep.
And the crowd, to their credit, acknowledged it. They recognized it.
Of course they did. It was great. So that's probably the pinnacle for me. That's I think always going to be one of my favorite matches. Then there were a few others. I mean, you could go into a slew of matches that you really liked. But
you need to explain one of these choices you have on here.
Please, go ahead.
WrestleMania 2000 Family Feud.
So, yeah, the reason I like that one is because you had every McMahon basically going against each other with the picks that they had. I don't remember who had who. What was it? Vince McMahon and The Rock.
Yep.
Austin and
nope.
No, Austin wasn't in it.
No, it was
it's
Foley and Linda.
Foley and Linda. Shane and Big Show.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Stephanie and Triple H.
And I thought listen, the match may not have been fantastic, but the build up to have your whole family on there feuding against each other, I thought was kind of cool. And
it was their celebration.
Yeah, but think about that card right there. Those four guys are arguably some of the best superstars of all time. And you could argue Big Show, fine, whatever, but he still was like a unique figure. Like,
at the time, listen, he was doing good work at the time.
Decent. Yeah, decent. I mean, it's not like he ever put on stellar matches, but the guy was 7 feet tall, 500 pounds. Like, you don't see that,
right. He's an attraction.
Yeah. And I just thought it was a cool one. But it wasn't the match, right? It was.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
It wasn't necessarily the match. It was the theory behind the match. I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And something you don't see, right? Like, I just thought that was kind of cool. But the other one I have on there too is I have HBK versus Austin, and not because the match was the greatest in the world. Like, we've talked about it before, but that was when Austin finally won the belt. And, you got this guy who I'm going to go on a limb and say, and I'm not even going to go on a limb. I know it was the biggest draw in WWE history outside of even Hulk Hogan, like with the money he brought in. And all of a sudden now he's the head of the company, right? You got this heel guy who is your anti hero,
Mhm.
and people love him. And
Yeah, it's true.
the match wasn't all that bad. I mean, it wasn't HBK's finest match, but it's still,
Yeah.
is
Everybody
light
knows where
years.
he was at during that time.
Yeah.
His back and neck and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
And then the other one I thought was cool, and at the time maybe it wasn't as big as I think it is now, but HBK versus Jericho I thought was an awesome match, man.
Fantastic match.
Yeah, and I remember when Jericho came on TV in WCW, I always in my head equated him to WCW Shawn Michaels for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So to see those two go at it, I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And now looking back, it's like we were lucky to kind of see that match,
To have that at the time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And Michaels was still rusty at that point when he came back, and he put on a stellar match, man.
Yeah.
With Jericho.
I think that was a turning point for Michaels in that return, that sort of second chapter of his career in WWE.
Yep.
He came back and he was only wrestling part-time at that point, because I think he wasn't sure how much he could handle and how well he could hold up now.
Yep.
But man, that match turned everything around, and I think right after that he went full-time up until he retired in 2010. So
he wasn't even supposed to be in that match. I think it was supposed to be Triple H, and he got hurt or something happened.
I think Triple H and Booker T had their match going on it, because that was WrestleMania 19.
Yeah, something happened to whoever Jericho was supposed to face. I can't remember who it was.
Oh, it was Jeff Hardy. So this was your. I know what you're talking about. I think it's the pay-per-view before. It was No Way Out, and it was supposed to be Jericho versus Hardy, and then that's when one of the first times Jeff got fired for like the drugs and stuff. So they. Oh wait, I'm wrong. It was Test. He was supposed to fight Test, and then Test missed a flight or some stuff, and then he ended up fighting.
What a terrible match that would have been.
It was. I don't know. It was a weird thing. Anyway, quick. That was a little detour.
Yeah.
Back to WrestleMania. Something that just popped in my head, and I don't know how I didn't think about this when I'm thinking about matches / moments.
Yeah.
I mean, Rock and Hogan.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of goes without saying, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's sort of that was lightning in a bottle. That match, just like some of these matches, it wasn't necessarily about the match itself, but kind of the moment that it created. And Rock and Hogan did not do a lot in that match. It was very simple, but I think that goes to show it sort of depends on the worker and being able to get that crowd engagement. And they were just on fire for like a shoulder tackle. Yeah. They Hogan wasn't doing hurricanranas or tope suicidas here.
No, I know.
Hogan barely went over the top rope. In the beginning of that match, Rock hits him, and like Hogan kind of goes over. And I remember we were joking around in high school. We were all just like, Hogan's not getting paid enough to go over the top rope, so we just like went back down and rolled underneath.
No, I agree. And I'm sure there are plenty we missed. Obviously, you got Hogan and Andre the Giant, which is iconic. But these, I'm talking, for us, our time frame is the matches we were talking about. Like we could probably go back and ask our parents or someone who's a little bit older, and they were more invested in the WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that I'm sure we're missing some. And you know what?
Oh yeah, they're going to say what Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man.
Oh, fantastic!
Bret Hart
match.
Versus Roddy Piper.
Oh, fantastic match.
Macho versus Ric Flair. I think it was WrestleMania 8.
Yeah, there's plenty of matches out there. And you know what? If you're listening to this and we forgot one, tweet at us which one you think is the best match, right? Like, I'd love to hear what people have to say about this outside of our opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, our opinions is always the best, but...
another moment that comes to mind is Lesnar almost killing himself trying to do a shooting star press.
And that was a good match, too.
Great match. It was a great match. I wish we got another Angle versus Lesnar WrestleMania match. That could have been a trilogy.
I know. I agree. So, yeah, and you know what? That brings up another great point, Mike.
That's right.
What about
Speaking of dreams?
What about some WrestleMania dream matches? Like we've talked about like matches that never have occurred, but not at a main event level like WrestleMania. Give me some that you think of. Like I could, like
Well,
some that maybe even like a wrestler that's deceased versus a wrestler that's alive today. Versus,
Hey, listen,
something like that.
I'm covering all bases here, and I'm going to start out in the women's division because we don't give them enough credit when it comes to WrestleMania.
We also didn't talk about any tag teams either, and there's plenty of.
I know.
Matches.
We focused a lot more solely on one-on-one. Maybe that'll be another episode down the line. We can do this. But for me, I feel like China always deserved a great one-on-one match at WrestleMania. And for my money, the opponent here can change because I think China needs to be the constant.
Agreed.
I feel like China versus Charlotte Flair would be wonderful. I also think Jazz's style would hold up really well against China. I always liked Jazz, so I just think I feel like I got to give her some love. She's so good. Even Alundra Blaze should be in there. I think there needed to be China versus Charlotte Flair is probably the one I'm going to go with, but any one of those other matches with Jazz or Alundra Blaze could have been stellar in my opinion.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say even China versus Bianca Belair, right? Like,
hell yeah.
Here's the thing. I think at the time, China was such a, she was so far above all of the other women wrestlers. I mean, she was wrestling men. You don't even see that today. Like, she was going against, you know what I mean? So you have to have someone who's physically can stand up to her. Her versus Ronda Rousey, you can argue all day long about whether you think she's a good wrestler, but she brings the heat, and that would have been a good one. So I agree. I think there's plenty of women in today's wrestling that could, give her a run for her money physically.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one I have on there was this is on everybody's list, and it never happened, and I think it could have, and it didn't. And Undertaker versus Sting. I just think those two characters are very iconic. They have so much legacy. They have so much character lore that it would have been really cool to see those two at their pinnacle go against each other.
I would have even taken like a video like they did with AJ Styles at that point. Like it wouldn't have been as good as an actual match in their prime. But I think if they had done Sting versus Undertaker in that kind of the cinematic version, even that would have given us our fill, I think, at that point. And it's a shame it could have happened and it never did. But I agree. That's one that we'll always wonder about. Yeah. That was probably the closest dream match that we could have happened.
Almost had. Yeah.
The other one, I'd say when it goes around those lines, one that could have happened was Austin versus Hogan. I mean, would it have been the best match in the whole world? Probably not. But you would have had two of the biggest stars of all time, like
of their respective eras.
Your ultimate baby face versus your anti-hero. I mean, come on. I mean, we got it on a Raw briefly.
Yeah, in a tag match, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing because you got to think about all the backstage stuff that was happening in 2002 when Hogan and Nash and Hall all came in. And WrestleMania 18 could have looked very different.
Yep. I'm glad it happened the way that it did. I think that I don't think you would have got that with Austin versus Hogan. But it's one that we can always wonder about.
Always wonder.
Yeah, always. And I think they both kind of regret, like now that they've kind of become somewhat close. I think they both kind of regret that it never happened.
Austin said it on his podcast. He had Hogan on, and it was a big two-parter, and they talk about it. They do say, hey, we fucked up. We probably should have had this go on. But I think both of them were just in kind of like weird places at that time.
Agreed.
So I think people got really paranoid about their spots, and that was still when that locker room was very different than it is now. So I think that probably played a huge role in why that match never really came to fruition the way it should have.
Agreed. I would agree there. I think one that might have been very interesting is Andre versus Lesnar.
Anybody want to pin up?
Yeah, can you imagine Lesnar getting Andre in an F5? Like,
would Andre let him?
Probably not. I mean, he was in such a
Andre's
bad
very
health.
much like Lesnar, where he just kind of does what he wants. So
Yeah.
I think that would have been very interesting. Two true alpha males.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, Andre had Hogan by the balls. You think what did he do?
Exactly. I think Lesnar would have needed to come down to the ring already with a torn off car door.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think here's one that I was thinking of, but I don't know if these two fought. I think they did. Did Lesnar face? I mean, did Hogan face Cena?
No,
Never?
they never fought. No.
Okay, because that would be a cool one, like Hogan in his prime versus Cena in his prime. Because the reason I say that is because Cena is was like the modern day Hogan.
Yeah,
you know?
the long
And
run
yeah,
on top. Mhm.
yeah, and
Mhm.
like always being a baby face, always winning.
Yes.
I think Cena went about it a different way than Hogan, but
Yeah.
I think that would have been a cool. I don't know that the match would have been great, but
Mhm.
it would have been a cool thing to see.
I think it could have been a good match.
Maybe,
Cena's a good worker.
maybe,
And not that Hogan's a bad one by any stretch, but maybe Hogan in his prime, I think it could have been a good match.
dude. If you go back and watch all of Hogan's matches, they're all exactly the same. Like, I'm sorry, it is the way it is. It was his entertainment value as a kid that I enjoyed, and
I never thought you'd be. I would be the one defending Hogan here.
I'm soured on Hogan.
Yeah.
I texted my girlfriend the other day and said, I'm done with Hogan.
Is this just a random
He's on
Tuesday?
his-
You felt like
he's
you know
on his
what?
third
Just
wife.
thinking about it, and Thunder in
Yeah.
Paradise sucked. So
Yeah, no, listen, all of his shit sucked, but it was him. It was the mystique around him. And I texted my girlfriend the other day. I'm like, I'm done with Hogan. He's no longer my childhood idol anymore. He's gonna be on his third marriage. Like, guys, whatever. It is what it is.
let's not get negative right here at the
all
end,
right.
Vito.
All right, give me another one that you
All
have
right.
on there.
So the other one that I have on here is Randy Orton versus Jake the Snake.
It's a good one.
I think that could have been a really good psychological match.
The Viper
Both of them
versus
are-
Jake the Snake. Yep.
Dude, I honestly just think
Oh, good
that
one.
would have been awesome.
Good one.
Jake in his prime. Orton's arguably still in his prime. The guy's still killing it. So
I'd say
I think maybe legend killer version of Randy Orton versus
Yeah.
like a little bit of a veteran Jake the Snake
I
could have
like
been
that.
fantastic.
Yeah, I like that. And you know what that to me isn't even, that's not a main event one. That's like a WrestleMania opener, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
Like a
It
first
could
match,
be
yeah.
right in the middle. It doesn't even have to be for a title. That's the
No,
thing. Like that
no,
could just
yeah.
be on its own. Same thing
Yeah.
with Undertaker and Sting. That doesn't need to have any titles involved.
No.
But man, I thought
Somehow WWE would put titles on them, would have
absolutely it would have been the 24/7 title.
yeah,
Yeah.
something stupid. That's a really good one. I
Yeah.
like that. That's outside the box. I think for me, another one that I think would be really cool with the current day
Mhm.
wrestler is AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels. I think
Yeah.
that would be such a cool match.
That's a big one. Mhm.
Yeah, AJ Styles really is kind of elevated himself to kind of that level, and,
Right.
and that would be a cool one. I mean, you could put in, Bryan Danielson in there too. You know what I mean? Like, there's the way
Absolutely.
they work. Either one of those would be good.
It would have been for the story of Shawn Michaels and Bryan Danielson. That would have been cool. He trained under Shawn, so that
I
would have been
know.
really, very Larry Zbyszko, Bruno Sammartino, teacher versus student.
Look at that. Yeah, teacher versus student. I like that. I do have a tag team on here. It was just one that I mean, you could pick a bunch of tag team matches
Mhm.
if you really wanted to, but I put on here the Hardys versus the Rockers. I think that would be a cool match, right?
Yeah, actually, I had to think about it for a second, but no, those styles would have been worked very well together.
I mean, the Rockers innovated what the Hardys do or
Mhm.
did, to some degree. They just the Hardys took it to another level.
Yeah,
And putting those two tag teams in a match would have been fantastic.
yeah. What about Brett versus Punk? Just for the sake of how much CM Punk loves Bret Hart, I think that could have been a cool match.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it would have been great. I don't put CM Punk the wrestler in the same echelon as like a Michaels or Bret Hart. He's up there. I just don't put him up. I think it's his wrestling knowledge and like his passion for it, and he's able to get on the microphone and do a great job. I'd love to see those two go at it on the microphone. Like, Bret Hart was good too, you know. So I think that would be good. I put on here, you know, think about this as a match, right? 4-way match, right?
Yeah.
And you got Angle, Bryan Danielson, Hart, and CM Punk.
I can't decide if I would replace one of those guys.
You could.
I like it.
I mean, you could get rid of Punk and put in Michaels. I mean,
I might put in Benoit.
Put in Benoit. Put in Eddie Guerrero. I even thought about Eddie Guerrero.
Shit, right? How would we forget about Eddie Guerrero? What's wrong with us?
I'm just saying, like, that type of style, like, that's not the, you know, prototypical WWE match. That's one that steals the show, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it just is what it is. But you could put in a couple different people there. But yeah, no. Sure.
I just thought of another one for China. China versus Awesome Kong.
Ooh, she
cool wrestled in WWE as Karma for a little while, but I think that would have been cool too.
I could.
I mean, my thoughts are going crazy right now. I'm thinking like Bull Nakano, Aja Kong, like all these different wrestlers that came through that WWE women's division back in like the late 80s, early 90s, before they just like dropped the division for a couple of years and brought it back.
I know.
But
I agree. And I think the one that I also would like that we didn't talk about was Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. Would be pretty cool too.
That's cool kind of an ultimate one for me.
Yeah, like babyface Hart versus ultimate heel Angle.
Yep.
Like, so
would have been so great. Would have been so good.
Yeah,
those two guys.
Yeah,
100%. One that comes to mind only because he's mentioned it once or twice before in an interview is Rey Mysterio versus The Rock. I know it's a really huge contrast to styles, but I don't know why. I would be interested. I'd watch that.
Yeah. Shit. So would I.
And it's Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Mysterio over the last like 5 or 6 years has been like neutered or watered down. It's weird. I don't quite understand what they're doing with them. It's kind of like the Jeff Hardy treatment when he was in WWE. Like, it is weird how they like don't talk about their legends like they should. I don't understand it, man. It's like certain people. I don't quite get it. But no, listen, I think these are all great.
These are great.
Great matches.
Did we miss anything? What do you think? I feel as though we did as much as we
could.
We probably should have done more with the tag teams like you were mentioning, but this felt good.
Yeah.
I felt the love for WrestleMania today. I don't know about you.
That's what the goal was, and it brings us, right up to it. Again, if we miss something, tweet at us.
Let us know.
Tell
tweet
us.
At us.
I'd love to know something we didn't
want to
talk
hear about it.
Yeah,
But, I think this was good. I feel like this is a good note to end on, Vito. We're feeling the love. We're feeling positive. If we keep this going any longer, we're going to just fall back into our old patterns. So I think, like you said, if anyone has any other moments, matches, dream matches that you think we should include in future episodes when we talk about our love for WrestleMania, well, tweet us out. Let us know. So I think next week we're going to try to maybe re-release that Undertaker episode since it's going into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
But the next time we talk to you guys will be right after WrestleMania. So we'll make sure we give our review. Who knows? Maybe we can get a special guest or two on with the Leader of Men and maybe Big Mango. We can maybe get them to come back for a one-off appearance. So until next time.
Wait. Hold up. Stop the presses.
Am I getting...
Stop the presses.
Stop the presses.
I want to point and ask you a quick question.
Okay.
We have a lot of... we've done our WrestleMania preview.
That's right.
Right? However, I believe you had a something that I want, and you're hearing this first on Strutting from Gorilla.
Okay.
What's today's date? The 22nd, March 22nd?
March 22nd.
So I want to hear the prediction you told me the other day, and I want you to explain to our listeners in the world what you think is going to happen at WrestleMania with a certain wrestling match, because if it comes true,
okay,
I want us to be the first ones to breaking here.
Thank you for stopping me before I cut this episode off too early. Everybody and their mother is saying Cody Rhodes is going to be at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes. I honestly don't think it's going to be Cody Rhodes. I think it's going to be John Cena. And the reason I say that is because Cena is very much like Jericho when it comes to keeping things under wraps. Look at the Royal Rumble in 2008. That guy's return was an absolute shocker to people. Look at even 2019 when he came back. Nobody had any idea he was going to come back, especially as the Doctor of Thugonomics. But John Cena, I think, is the right person to do something like this. John Cena has shown the ability to keep things under wraps, to not have the dirt sheets be covering any of this stuff, or whether he's paying them off or whatever. We don't really know what the hell goes on with Dave Meltzer and all his minions, but I honestly think it's going to be John Cena. I think WWE is too aware of the fact that everybody, quote unquote, knows that Cody Rhodes is coming back. And this would be something that I could see them trying to swerve people on and throw a little wrench in. And it's a welcome wrench. Nobody would be upset with John Cena coming out and having a match with Seth Rollins.
Nope.
So that's my prediction. So you heard it here first. If I'm wrong, that's fine. But I think Cody Rhodes might be saved for the Monday after. Okay. I think they need something for that Raw.
Ooh, I like that idea. The Monday after, you always get something. That's a great point, Mike. Mikey Cash coming in hot. All right, let's see if it happens.
Let's see if it happens. So until we talk to you guys, once we do this WrestleMania review, we'll be able to see if my prediction was correct. So until then, enjoy the Mania, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
We now return your perception of reality to you. Until next time.